everybody. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you had a really nice weekend. Weather sure was pleasant. Got a little yard work done on myself, and really just enjoyed spending some time with my family, which sounds kind of weird because we're all spending time with our families, except if you're at home with your kids and you're trying to do e-learning and you're trying to do work yourself, and your wife's trying to do work herself, and mother-in-law is doing work herself. We're all kind of in the same room, in the same house, but we're all apart because we're all doing our own separate things. So it's kind of crazy now with this stay-at-home learning and work and all that kind of business. So it was really nice to sort of try to turn things off on Saturday and Sunday and just spend time together and play outside and just enjoy the weather and be together. Anyway, I hope you had a good weekend. I hope that you enjoyed our worship service yesterday. I really enjoyed every part of it, Mike's message, and I just really hope that you are enjoying those worship services as we put those together for you each week. So one of the things I want to do today is over the past, I don't know how 3-4 weeks it's been now, I'm losing track of time. I have been sort of taking you through different aspects of my job and showing you things that I do here. If you remember way back when this all began, I gave you a demonstration of the pipe organ, actually of both our pipe organs here in the sanctuary, and then I talked a little bit about composition, my method of writing pieces, and let's see, after that, we talked about conducting, choral conducting and instrumental conducting, which I really love doing. Today what we're going to do is talk about another part of my job which I really enjoy, which is working with our praise band. So as of about, I don't know, 3, maybe 4 years ago, again, losing track of time, you would find me playing one of probably 4 different keyboards here in the sanctuary. One primarily being our pipe organ up in the gallery, or the small pipe organ down front here in the chancel, or our grand piano. And another keyboard that I play each Sunday is this wonderful instrument here, which is called a controller. Now, in years past, and I say that meaning maybe a decade or so ago, a keyboard like this would have probably been called a synthesizer. And today, a keyboard like this functions quite differently than keyboards and electronic keyboards of older generation electronic keyboards, in the way that this keyboard by itself, without all of these other components attached to it, actually doesn't make any sound whatsoever. It doesn't have anything built into it that can produce any sounds, any piano sounds, anything whatsoever. Older synthesizers, they synthesize sound, and they have on board a myriad of different sounds that can be played just by turning the keyboard on, plugging it in, turning it on, and probably attaching it to an amplifier of some sort. But today, what we have nowadays, a little bit more intricate, but a little bit more difficult to use, is this device here is called the controller. And what the controller does is exactly what it's named for. Is that it controls devices. So this keyboard, when I'm saying keyboard, I'm only talking about this big part with the keyboard, not this little guy here, and not my computer. But what this controller does is it is able to control, in this case, in my case on Sunday mornings, my computer. And my computer, this MacBook here, is running a program that's called MainStage. And MainStage is a wonderful performance tool for musicians, and particularly keyboardists, who want to have access to just thousands and thousands of different types of sounds and vintage synthesizer sounds, and to the most up-to-date and most current synthesized sounds, and also to be able to design and create your own sounds. So what's happening here is that my controller is attached to this program on my computer called MainStage, and through it I'm able to play music. Now I'm going to start off simple. So the most basic thing that I might play on any given Sunday morning might be just a plain old piano sound, just an acoustic piano sound. Now I know this is not a real acoustic piano, but when you mix it in with the rest of the band, it does sound quite natural. So that's kind of a basic piano sound, and that piano sound is being generated by my computer. So I'm playing the controller is going to the computer and playing a piano sound that's being created on the computer, and then that sound is going from my computer to this red box, which sends the sound up to the audio control desk, which sends the sound through our sound system. Okay, so it gets pretty technical there, but once you get used to it, it's really not that difficult to understand. Now, one of the really cool things about this keyboard, and compared to what I do on the organ, is that this instrument is very much like the organ that I play up in the gallery, in that it has some very similar functions. Number one, it could make many different sounds, just like the organ. So I had piano sound here a second ago. And if you recognize that song, if you go to contemporary service, I'm playing, or if you heard one of the music samplers not too long ago, actually it might have been during service. Beautiful Things by Gungor. We included this song in one of our services, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And in this song, there's a call for not only piano sound, but at one point in the song, during one of the interludes, it requires a string sound, violins. So one of the neat things about this keyboard and MainStage is that I can divide this keyboard up into different sections and play different sounds all on the same keyboard. Similar to what I can do with the organ, except I play different sounds on different keyboards. So basically, I have different keyboards. I've just divided it up into different places. So in this part of the keyboard, I've got a piano. And then from this part of the keyboard on up, I've set up some strings. So if you know the song, you'll recall that after one of the choruses, we have this little instrumental interlude. Sounds like this. Strings and piano at the same time and be 2 instruments as opposed to just one. Now, if we want to get a little bit more, intricate and really demonstrate some of the power of these instruments, let me get some other music here in the way. Some of the sounds that the computer is able to generate is comprised of several layers of sounds, one on top of another. And what I mean is that just like on the organ, again, relating to what this instrument can do to what the organ can do, the organ has different stops that make different sounds, right? So we can have string sounds, we can have flute sounds, trumpet sounds, and so forth. And by layering those sounds one on another, we could create new sounds. Well, the synthesizer here, and by synthesizer I'm referring now to the computer, to my Mac here, can create sounds that are also layered on one another. Now I don't know if your angle, if you can see this very well, but what I've got here are 4 layers of sounds layered on top of one another that create a very intricate sort of combination. Sounds layered on top of one another. Now, one interesting thing about this layout here is this wonderful little device here, and this is called a Nano, and that's a brand name. It's a Nano controller, and what it does is it allows me to control the different layers on the screen with these little sliders that I slide up and down, and I hope maybe you can see it on the screen here. As I'm moving the slider here, the fader, technically this would be called the fader, it changes the amount of sound that comes from each of these layers. So if I play a little bit and I make some changes to these layers, you'll hear a difference in the sound, I hope. Take the piano out, and I just put in that sort of ethereal sound. Okay, so by manipulating again those different layers, I can create new sounds. And another thing that's, again, making a comparison to the organ and how the organ works and how this instrument works. If you remember on the organ, I have 2 pedals. On this organ, I have 2 pedals down below. One controls volume, and I do have volume control here, right through this. Anything that slides up and down on a device like this would be called a fader. So with this fader here, I do have volume control. So that kind of stays right at that position. But if you remember on the organ, I have a volume control and I also have what's called the crescendo pedal, okay? And the crescendo pedal adds stops to the organ while I'm playing without me having to reach out and pull them out with my hands. It does it automatically. And that is created by this wheel here, which we call a mod wheel or a modulation wheel. And so what happens is, as I'm playing this song, and the song builds and gets more intense, like when we get to the center of the song, we might want a little bit different sound or a bigger sound. So what I do is this. So that's one way that we can change the sound and make it more interesting. Now, one of the other really cool things that I've learned over the past couple of years are these wonderful products called song-specific patches. I'm going to explain what that is. So, A lot of the songs that we play in the praise band are a lot of tunes, or mostly tunes, that you're going to hear on K-Love and other Christian, contemporary Christian radio stations. And they're played by wonderful bands that can do some pretty intricate things. And when we hear as a band here at Orchard Park, or other bands at other churches that play contemporary Christian music, we want to present those songs much in the way that you hear them when you hear them on the radio, and so there are companies out there in the interworld, or that create products called song-specific patches, and what those are pre-programmed sounds that emulate the same sounds that are used by the original bands or the original artists that wrote or composed the original songs, and they allow us, people like me who have a setup like this, to play sounds that are very, very close to the same keyboard sounds that the original artists used on their recordings. And so what's wonderful about that is the way that these companies lay these out is that they already program the sounds for us, so that I don't have to go through and try to manually create or recreate sounds that we're hearing on some of these tunes. They do all that work for us, and they lay it out in the keyboard in different areas of the keyboard for us, so that we can play these songs and sound very much like the original artists, but of course with our own spin and our own singers and our own instrumentalists. But the keyboard part in some of these songs is particularly prominent, especially in a lot of Hillsong music. The keyboards really play a very important role in a lot of those songs. And so a song like Who You Say I Am, which if you come to 1110, I think we actually even did it in a combined service too once. This is a song again by Hillsong Music that a company put out a song-specific patch for, and so it allows me to play basically the same sound, or very similar sound, to what you would hear when you listen to the song on the radio. Helps if I choose the right patch, just a second. Okay. Change the sound as I got through different parts of the song, and what the company did is they built in, as I changed that wheel, it brings in the different sounds that I need to continue on through the song and do it only as one person, which is really, really wonderful. So that's basically these instruments. It's really a combination of instruments all connected together. Again, so we have our controller, we have our nano controller, which helps me control the layers of the song on my MacBook, which is running a program that creates all the sounds. And one of the other things I do, which some of you may or may not know, during the 11:10 service, while I'm playing the songs with the band, one of the other things that I have to keep track of is this little mixer device. This is an iPad, but this is an iPad that's running a program that basically connects wirelessly to our audio mixer up in the choir loft. And basically, as we're going through and singing and playing, I also have to make adjustments to the volume of all of our instrumentalists and their microphones. So we've got Josh's mic, Molly's mic, Adam's mic. We have my keyboard, Don's keyboard, Molly's guitar, Josh's guitar, Greg's bass, and then the overall volume of everything being controlled with this fader. So there's a lot going on in this space right here that requires a whole lot of attention, and I do my best to try to create a good mix of all of us playing together. But it is very, very challenging, but enjoyable too. And we're very, very blessed and lucky to have this wonderful equipment here at Orchard Park to do this kind of music. And I have to say, I've really enjoyed getting to know the contemporary Christian repertoire. Years ago, I didn't know much of it at all because I didn't listen to it at all, and certainly had a bias against it because I didn't really know any of the repertoire. But now that I've gotten to learn a lot of the songs and play a lot of the songs and get to know a lot of these artists and what they write, I've really discovered there's some really fantastic music out there, really wonderfully written texts and wonderfully written music. And I mean, in the olden days, contemporary Christian music kind of got a bad rap, and I guess kind of for good reason. It was fairly repetitive and didn't go too deep theologically. But nowadays, there really is some incredible stuff out there, and not all of it's for everybody, for sure. But I really have tried to keep an open mind when it comes to contemporary Christian music, and I really have gotten to enjoy it, and I'm glad that I get to do this part of my job. So that's pretty much all I have to tell you today about my setup here with the band. I want to let you know that later on today I'm going to be posting, if you check back here on the Orchard Park Facebook page, I will be posting our music ministry sampler number 4. And this time I want to thank a couple of our band members. Josh Powell sent in a video of himself playing I Could Sing of Your Love Forever, and another wonderful video that Molly Schmidt sent in, which was a duet that she did remotely with her niece, playing guitar and singing a song called "Oh Praise His Name," and I think you're really going to enjoy that. So those 2 videos are coming out. Well, it's one video pasted together, and those are coming out later today. So check back to take a listen to that, and I hope that brings a smile to your face. And finally, I am working on a project with our band members to create. I was going back and forth whether or not I was going to let this cat out of the bag because I wanted it to be a surprise, but I'm just having so much fun with it. If you've seen sort of the late night TV show bands where the band members are playing in different boxes on the TV screen, all in different locations, well, each of those people basically have recorded. I know it looks like they're playing together live, but it's not really happening that way. Each of them records their part separately. They're listening to a metronome, and they record their part separately, and an engineer puts all those things together and makes one piece, just like any multi-track recording. So we're doing the same thing here with the band, which has been really fun. So each of the band members has been coming in here to the sanctuary and recording their parts to 3 songs that we've worked on in the past. And I've been putting that together in a sort of a mosaic window, and we'll be sharing those in worship, I hope this Sunday and in the upcoming weeks. So that's been a lot of fun, and it's definitely been keeping me really busy, but it's been cool doing it. So anyway, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and do keep checking back here each day, 10 o'clock Facebook Live, to catch all of our staff members sharing with you what we're up to, and hopefully brightening your day. So happy Monday, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.